Hello and well met. This is Layron with the Fantasy Grounds Academy. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new 2024 5e Paladin. Essentially, it's very similar. There's a couple changes, but basically we're going to build this thing up to 4th level. I'm going to pick one of the subclasses at 3rd level, and then we'll go up to level 4. So I'm doing this to kind of get familiar with how these things look, what the rules are, some of the changes that were made, and also checking out the Fantasy Grounds implementation, because I know that I've worked on other ones in the past and I've had a few little minor problems. The Moon Wizard, Smite Works, and them have been working on this pretty much for the last few weeks. So most of these bugs are getting squashed. All right, so key highlights. So we go to level 1. And then we're going to pick like lay on hand. You get lay on hands, divine sense, that sort of stuff. You get to pick your fighting style at level 2. And you get an iconic Divine Smite. Level 3, we get to pick our oath. So there's the Oath of Devotion, the Oath of Glory, the Oath of Vengeance, or the Oath of Ancient. So those are the 4 that are available as of now. Level 4, you get your ability score improvement or a feat. So you get to select that. You can enhance your divine prowess, however you want to do it. So some of the things that we want to consider is strength and charisma for offensive and defensive capabilities. Choose a fighting style that complements the play style and the type of weapons you use. And then, of course, you get feats like Tough or Sentinel if you want battlefield control and durability. So those are things that you'll have to decide what's important to you, what isn't, as far as the build goes. So we'll see how this goes. So I want to go ahead and take and put in, let's see. Okay, so when you start a new character, when you are working with Fantasy Grounds, again, you want to make sure your books are open, that they're active, and if you are a player, the GM has to share the content with you. By default, most of the player-facing content is already shared out to players, so that's generally not the side of the GM. It's the players who have to go in and make sure that the books are activated in the module section of Fantasy Grounds. So that's kind of the first step. Once you have that open, then you want to go to the character builder for character under player, and then you'll click on character wizard, and that should pop up with the wizard. So this is your starting point for any type of characters that you might want to build during your process. So this takes some time to get used to the interface. There will be some strange anomalies depending on the combination that you build, and also remember the rules have changed a little bit. So you'll have to plan for the idea that you will not necessarily get your ability score increase with your species or your race. It comes from your background. And they kind of consider species and background as your origin. So it's kind of combined now in a sense, or at least the way they perceive it. So let's go ahead and start with the Paladin. That's what we're going to build today. So we're going to click on Paladin. And immediately you're brought to this page for level 1. It gives you an overview of your proficiencies. You're proficient with wisdom and charisma saves. And then you can choose 2 ability or skills like athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion. And then here is the drop down. So let's pick a couple. So I want to pick a couple that are not going to clash with my background, and that's because that's where you're going to get your ability score adjustments. And you're also going to get some other skills from there. So I think I want to take and pick a couple that aren't as readily common as the ones you would normally pick. So normally I'd pick like athletics and medicine or something like that. But in this case, if I pick a soldier, I'm going to already get some of this kind of stuff. So I want to pick stuff that's not related to a soldier. So I think persuasion is one. And then the other would probably be religion. So those are the 2 skills that I chose for this particular build. And then you get lay on hands at level 1. You do get a couple spells at level 1. So at level 1, you get some prepared spells, and it just kind of progressively goes up. And it kind of breaks down this table here. And then the other thing is weapon mastery. So this comes from weapons themselves. So depending on what weapons you choose, those are the weapons that you will be choosing from. And also has a little bit to do with your fighting style, if you know, to complement that. But anyway, so these are the Paladin features, and I'm going to click over to spells. You get a couple first level spells. So I'm going to click on level 1 here, and you get 2 of those. So probably Bless. I think that's a pretty good, well-rounded ability. And maybe this Thunderous Strike or Thunderous Smite. Oh yeah, so you get an extra 2d6 thunder damage, maybe, and you can cast it at a higher level if you add additional slot to it, and it's a bonus action, so that's cool. So you can take it immediately after hitting a target with a melee weapon or an unarmed strike. So you get the only thing is it's kind of noisy. Like, it's really, hey Dan, what's up? It's kind of noisy, but it does 2d6 thunder damage. Additionally, if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a saving throw or be pushed back. You know, I will take that. I normally wouldn't, because that would, you know, basically shake the whole damn dungeon. But when you're in a big battle, like a big fight, I think this would be cool. Very dramatic effect to it. And then a Searing Smite is similar, but it has fire damage, and it's a little less damage. So I think that Thunderous Smite is the way to go. So there's my 2 spells that I chose. So I just clicked on these little buttons up here, and that's, you toggle between the features and what you're choosing. So that's for my first level spells. The weapon masteries, as I said, comes from your weapon. So we'll have to see what happens there. Kind of for a virtual tabletop, that might be problematic, because you don't normally pick your equipment until towards the end. Now you can I can skip ahead and pick the equipment, but I'm trying to go in order. So you don't have to do this in any specific order, but it does kind of help if you do, you know, try to build your characters in the same order every time. That way you can, you know, potentially spot problems and that sort of thing. So now I'm going to go to background. So this is where you actually get your ability score adjustments and the related skills. So I was going to pick Soldier, because I know that's a pretty common one. You could do Acolyte, like you started off in a temple or something like that, but I already have Religion and Persuasion, so I think that would kind of clash already. You can pick a Guard, so you might have started off with that, but you get Strength, Intelligence, and Wisdom. You get the Alert feat, and you get Athletics and Perception. I already have Perception, so you want to look at those before you pick. Let's check out Soldier. So Strength, Dex, Wisdom for abilities. So you can pick a +1 across all 3 of those, or you can do +2 and +1. I'm going to do the +2, +1, because I'm not too worried about being dexterous. I'll have a little bit of dex when I do my ability scores, but that's not my main focus. So I'm going to go with Strength for the increase on that ability, and then Wisdom. So those are probably good picks there. There's your skills. You get Acrobatics and Perception, huh? Strange. Oh, it's a Sailor. Duh. I didn't want a Sailor. I wanted the Soldier. Picked the wrong one. Okay, let's do this again. So still the same choice. We're going to go with Strength and Con in this case. And then for a tool proficiency, one kind of gaming set, so probably dice. I can see him maybe at one point in his career he was gambling or playing for fun. And you get the Savage Attacker feat, which I don't see a link to click on, which is unfortunate, because if you wanted to read about it, you can't do that here. Let's see. So species, I've been picking humans this whole time. I think I'm going to stick to that. But I could pick, you know, a elf or another race, but I'm going to go ahead and pick a human. And I kind of want to stick to one race, so that way I build them all, understand that they're all the same. I did an elf, I think I'll do an elf like Ranger or something like that, something very cliche. For size, I'm going to go ahead and pick medium. Language, I already have common, so probably dwarvish, and then maybe I'll just do elvish. So those are the common tongues. And here are the other ones. So it says skilled is recommended. Since you're a human, you get the versatile trait, but you don't have to pick that. You can do tough or something like that. So let's look at that. So your hit point maximum increases by an equal to twice your. Yeah, I like the tough feat. I don't necessarily want a whole bunch of skills, so I'll just do it like this. And go ahead and click on tough. And then you gain a proficiency in one skill of your choice. So I think, let's see, intimidation maybe. Survival would make sense. Insight. Yeah, let's do insight. I'm going to tell if someone's lying or not, or kind of get to the truth type thing. And then go to ability. So this is where you're going to, either roll or adjust or however you want to do it. I'm going to use the standard array. This is a lot faster. And I think I'm going to switch this 14 out for that. So now I have a 15 con, 17 strength, 13 dex. I'm going to switch this. Oh wow, charisma is really low. All right, so let me change this up. So charisma is going to go up here. This is going to go to. Okay, so that's basically how this is going to break down. So now we have a 16 strength, a 13 dexterity, an 11 con, 8 intelligence, wisdom of 12, charisma of 15. So that's I'd say it's a pretty average build, not too bad. And that includes the ability score increases. So we had +1 on con, and then we had this. So, just depends on what you want to do. I could switch these two. I might do that, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. Anyhow, it's kind of up to you, like how you want this to go. So it really depends on what you're after, what you're trying to achieve. All right, so let's see what we got here. Okay, let's go to equipment. So you get two choices, basically, your background kit and your class kit. I'm going to go ahead and take the class kit, which is going to give me a chainmail, shield, longsword, holy symbol, priest pack. That's pretty standard stuff. So I'll go ahead and take that. And then for this, I don't necessarily want the arrows and the healer's kit and traveler's clothes and all that. So I'm going to take the gold. So that's basically I got to start with is I get 9 from my class, 50 from background. So there's 59 gold to start with. Not too shabby. And let's see. And then when you're ready, you want to look over all this stuff before you hit save. That basically commits you to the character building of this level. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Paladin level. I'll just say Paladin, and then level 1, and then I'm going to hit save. So now it's saying I get 1 extra feat. I believe that's because I'm a human. And this is the thing that was kind of weird. It comes up later, right when you save. But let's see. Let's go with. Maybe I'll do the. Maybe at this point I will do skilled, since I don't see anything on here. Other than alert, I don't see what else I'd want on here. You know what? I'm going to do alert. That's going to be helpful. Because there I will get, you get proficiency bonus with your initiative proficiency. And you can swap a proficiency with one of your allies if as long as they're not incapacitated. So that's kind of cool. So I'll go ahead and pick that. That's kind of new. And we'll do that. So that's basically first level. So what I encourage you to do at this point is when you have a character like this, so like this is the Paladin, I would make a copy of this before you level up. So that's a good practice. If you're a game master and you got a group of characters or players, after they level up to level 1 and they're done and to get all the details in there, I would take this Paladin, this level 1 Paladin, and make a copy of it. and all you have to do is left click and drag, and it will make another additional copy of this, and then level up the copy instead of the original. And that way you can always go back, and you do it for every level. That way, if you have a problem, or if you want to play the Paladin in this case in a different game that's lower level or higher level, you'll have different iterations of the same character. So if that player goes to a different table and they want to use the same character they used here, then I can just send them the XML at the correct level, of course. And if that GM allows it, he can import that character in his game at that level. So that's another benefit of that, other than having a backup in case of malfunctioning. So you can take the copy and basically level that up and go to level 2 with that. So go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take the copy, but I'm going to rename it to level 2. And I think this is a good practice. You don't have to do this, but it is helpful. And then I'll close the level 1 character. And then what we'll do is I'm going to end up leveling up from here. And I'm going to close the character selection window in the background for now. And then I'm going to go ahead and level it up. So you do that by clicking on this gear cog here. And then from here, you can click on level up. Now, if you're using drag and drop, you can just drag this level into here, and that will also trigger the level up. But in this case, we're using the character wizard, so we'll stick with that. So there we go. There's the level up screen. You want to click on level up. And then you get a feature choice here. So you get to pick if you're a blessed warrior or a fighting style. Let's go with blessed warrior. I don't know what that is yet. And then you get Divine Smite. So those are you get a spell basically, or a power that's always prepared. And you can cast it now without expending a spell slot, which is nice. Before you had to, spend a slot. So this one makes it to where you don't have to. And then you have to finish a long rest before you can cast it again. So that's cool. And now let's go to spells. So you probably get another spell or two. And the only way you're going to know that is by having the Paladin sheet up, or the table. And I think that's annoying that you can't get to it very easily from here, or even when you're in the character sheet. But you want to go to classes on the right hand side, and then you want to pick Paladin. And there's tables and character creation things you need from here. And I think it'd be convenient if there was a permanent button up on top, or somewhere where you can get to it without having to go all the way back to the character sheet, because this is annoying when you're building. And I'd recommend that you left click and drag the record link up here down to your hotkeys. So when you're building, you want to have that readily available so you can look at this up. So he doesn't get any channel divinity yet. And is there another table here? Yeah. So it's the same amount of spells, but you can have 3 prepared instead of just 2. So that's the difference there in spellcasting. So I'm not going to worry about that, but I will add another spell just to have it, even though I can't prepare more than that. So let's take a look. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with it. I'll just go to level 3 after this. So go ahead and hit commit. And you want to look over anything, any changes, those sort of things, and then hit save. And now it's going to ask you to pick level 0 2 cantrips. I didn't know you get cantrips with this. Maybe it has to do with the blessed warrior. So what I will do here is go to guidance and probably light, or word of radiance. What's that do? Yeah, I'll do Word of Radiance. That'll be cool. Sacred Flame, Resist, Mending, Spare the Dying. That's kind of good. Yeah, it's not really not a healer type, so there we go. So I did get a couple additional spells, cantrips, and I want to look to see where that came from before I moved on. So this fighting style Blessed Warrior. Yeah, this is where you get the 2 cantrips. So instead of having the fighting style, you're basically sacrificing that for the Blessed Warrior. So you're getting charisma-based spells and that sort of thing. And well, that's what it's based on anyways. So that's cool. And then I think the resourceful, or actually the versatile thing, is we get an origin feat. So that's where that came from. For the skilled, and I actually picked a different one. And then when you get skillful, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice. So we got that also. So that's where those came from. Okay. Just wanted to check because I'm still not quite 100% used to the character build. And you get this pop-up randomly somewhere. You don't know where it's coming from. So that's okay. No big deal. I kind of wish it would come up when you're selecting it, but I can understand it may have to be triggered. So it might have something to do with it. And I think I reported this on the Fantasy Grounds forums, but Moonwizard said that it's kind of complicated and he has to figure out a better way to do it. So if it can be done. So that's level 2. Okay, so I'll close, or I'm going to actually initiate the level up process from here. So I'll click on the gear cog, and again, we're going to click on the level up button, and this is the next level that we're going to go up into level 3, and this is also where we get our subclass. So we'll see what happens. So level up, and now we get to pick our subclass. So I was thinking of Vengeance, something kind of cool, like a little bit more on the dark side. So you showed the wicked no mercy. You fight injustices and its causes, and you aid those harmed by injustice. So it's kind of like, punish evildoers at any cost. I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. And let's see what glory is about. So you get to believe their companions are destined to achieve glory and deeds of heroism. So inspire others to strive for glory, face hardships with courage, endeavor to be known for your deeds. Nah, I'm not down for that. Devotion is kind of more on a religious tip, I believe. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm kind of not liking any of them, to be honest with you. You preserve life and light in the world. That might be something. Paladins who swear this cherish light. They love beautiful and love giving things. So shelter life, delight in art and laughter, kindle the light of hope. And that sounds pretty fluffy there. I'm going to go with this. Oath of Vengeance. I don't mind a little fluff, but that's too much for me. Let's see. So the level 1 spells, I think we get one more. So let's go with, I don't want Cure Wounds, because you already have Lay on Hands. That's kind of crappy. Maybe Protection from Evil and Good. That works pretty well, actually. Let's do that. And I think that's good. I think we're good with that. And like I said, if you have that shortcut handy, you can always bring this up. And you could go to the spell list again. And then here we get 4 prepared, 3 spell slots. So we can have up to 4. So I might pick one more since I'm already here. And just something I would use more often. Shield of Faith. That's a real pain in the butt to run in Fantasy Grounds unless you got extensions. I'll go with Command. There we go. And once you're done with your choices, you kind of go down this list, make sure you got everything. I got the spells already. We picked did we pick our subdomain? Oh yeah, we did the Vengeance. And now we're going to hit commit. I'm going to take a look. Yep. Okay. So go ahead and hit save. So now it's level 3. And notice I didn't make a copy of it because I kind of pressed for time, but I would have normally made a copy of it. And then go to the level up again. So now we're at the Oath of Vengeance, and this new thing here, this will populate the lowest or the minimum level of experience points per class now. It does this automatically. It populates it. You don't have to necessarily go by it. It doesn't affect anything. It just basically is a note, and then your XP will actually go here. But I'll go ahead and click on level up again, and we're going to go to 4th level. So we're going to go ahead and click level up. And we get an ability score improvement, or we can choose a feat. I'm going to go with ability score improvement. I think it's important to have, a decent ability scores over a feat, but you know, it's optional. It depends on what you're into. So I'm going to go with the 2+1, and one of these is going to go on charisma, and one of these probably dexterity, since I have a really low dex, or I could put it on wisdom. You know what? I think wisdom is the way to go. And then hit commit, and then save. I mean, check everything before, and then hit save. So now we have, this is level 4, so I'm going to change that to level 4. And now for the hard part. The hardest part, I think, is picking a dang picture for it. So these are just portraits that were generated by Smiteworks. And I'm trying to just look for like a good Paladin looking picture. Yeah, I don't see any there. Let's go back to portraits. And I'm going to just pick Paladin here. And it doesn't have to be a male, it can be female as well. Huh, that's cool. This second edition version, I like that. You know, I do want it to be a female, a human female paladin. That sounds great. Yeah, that one. So click on this little image here, and then I'm going to drag over the asset. So I'm doing this from the asset window instead of through the character sheet. As a player, you'll probably have to stick to that, but as a GM, you can actually drag and drop from here. It's a lot quicker than trying to go through the character sheet. And there we go. So that's probably your hardest part. Now the next part of this is just organizing the sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch this out and make this a little bit nicer and a little bit more legible. And now I want to take a look. So we're going to go to our skills. We do have a proficiency with playing cards, so I'm going to go ahead and add this. I think I'll base it either probably on wisdom, and then we'll just say playing cards. So you're proficient in playing the game and maybe doing card tricks or something, but basically this is just in case type thing. You probably won't use it, but I also wanted to show that you can add your own. Let's see, abilities. So we have alert, and you get initiative proficiency on this. So when you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus. The swap thing is going to have to be manual. I don't think that you can do this unless you can just take that bonus number and tell the player that you give the initiative bonus to, and they can add the modifier before they roll initiative or something like that. But where that happens is if you come over here to the front sheet and you click on this little icon, this should actually be checked. So we're proficient now with your initiative roll. So that's where that comes from. So if you have that, check that out. Make sure that's populated. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you don't have at least 4 abilities or skills at first level, you likely double up somewhere. So you might want to check your work on that. And at this point, you can manually change them if you have to. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so we did Savage Attacker is once per turn you can hit a target with weapons. You can roll the weapon's damage twice and use either roll. So I'll keep this out here. We're going to check that. Tough is basically your hit points go up. Let me take a look at my hit points. Yeah, it's pretty decent, but for level 4 it seems a little low. I can come over here on the left. You guys can't see it because I got it covered up, but you can come on the left in the chat window and see, sometimes you can see like how much was added, but it doesn't show how many hit points were added, which kind of sucks. So I don't know if this is correct. I'll have to go back and do the math on it. It looks right, but who knows? Let's see. So alert, and I don't remember when I picked tough, so I'm just going to set this off to the side because I'm going to be looking at that later to check the work here. Channel Divinity Paladin, so you get Divine Sense, and I believe, let's see, Divine Sense is a bonus action. Okay, I'll look at that later. So what I'm doing is taking these and kind of moving them off to the right-hand side of my character sheet. And then you get your Oath of Vengeance spells, which I need to add. And this is all the little stuff. This is the customization stuff that comes after you've built your character. Paladin subclass, we already dealt with that. There's a Smite, so I'll go ahead and take that off to the side. Vow of Enmity, and then Weapon Mastery. I'll just take that as a reminder. Resourceful, skillful, and versatile already dealt with. And then here's all the proficiencies in the languages. So this is what I'm looking at, are the feats and the features and the traits. I want to make sure all those are dealt with. I'm pretty sure these are fine. Yeah, these are fine. The origin feat, yeah, we've already dealt with that in character creation. So the traits are handled. I think the feats are pretty much hard-coded, but what I did notice is that the proficiency bonus wasn't selected, where I've seen it done before, so I don't know if that's supposed to be automatic or not. I'll have to ask, but this is where that proficiency bonus comes in. So that's helpful. Since I don't have a high dex, that's going to be really helpful. And let's see. Note, so this one is going to be lawful neutral. It's kind of a tough person. Female. Let's say she's about 23 or so, maybe 25. And height is 5 foot. She's pretty tall, 5'10", and she weighs 138 pounds, soaking wet. So it's pretty beefy there for a paladin woman, and she's probably really strong and wiry. So she's probably really athletic. So we can work that into her description later. So I encourage you to fill these out if you're going to be role-playing this character. Maybe during a one-shot, you could probably skip that over, or the GM might already have a pre-gen with that already filled out. This rule set doesn't really use personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, so that's kind of up to you. There isn't any tables for those anymore, but you could fill out your appearance, and then you can also make those up. And then if you have any notes that you want to take, and fill that out there. The log sheet is for organized play for like Adventures League. I don't have to worry about this right now. And then your actions tab. So this is what I wanted to check. So spells are on here. I just got to grab a couple more. And that was from, do we have the Paladin Smite? Yeah, Paladin Smite is right here. You cast it without spending a spell slot. It's not a bonus action. It's always prepared, but you can only do it once for a long rest. So that's already handled. I don't have to worry about that. Weapon mastery is going to depend on the weapons you have. So how many javelins do I have? Let's see. So 1 javelin. I think I'd want 3. So I just increased it to 3. And I believe this one is slow and this other one is cleave or nick or something like that. But this is a versatile weapon, so you can switch between them. So it might have something to do with that. But basically, when you click on the description of a weapon, it'll tell you. So for longsword, and I'm just getting in the habit of notating this stuff now because I don't want to have to look it up later. And then slow. So javelin is slow, and then the longsword is sap. And I'm doing this in case you want to add these in later. I did make my own module for this type of thing because I didn't want the inconvenience of trying to look the stuff up in the middle of gameplay. So what I'm going to do is at the bottom, I'm going to click on Edit List, and then I'm going to click on Add Power, which is your group here, and then I'm going to call this Weapon Mastery. Actually, that's already handled here. So I will take and I'll just make that new group, and I'll drag my weapon mastery from the Paladin area. So let me get out of edit mode, take weapon mastery. I'm going to put it in its own group so I don't have to deal with. There we go. It's kind of reorganizing here. And then I got to fix the title here. So let me go to that. Weapon Mastery. Okay. So that's the name of the group. And then what I'll do is I'll add in any weapon masteries that I get. You get like, you start off with 3 and then it kind of slowly increases over time. But it also depends on what weapons you're proficient with and which ones you have equipped and all that. So this is just 2 weapons, so that's not a big deal. And it's pretty simple. So what I'll do is, let me see if I have that module loaded. Yeah, so I made my own weapon mastery effects here. And I made them on the character sheet, and then I just drug them over to spells to store them and made my own module. So this is basically the information on it, like how to build it, and, you know, what the properties are. Kind of made my own deal here, so it's my own reference for it. So I want to go to spells, even though it's not actually a spell. This is where I stored them. And then I get slow, which I'll drop down here, and sap. So those are the 2 effects, basically. They're just mostly notes. And I'll put weapon mastery up here on the top. There we go. So this is kind of the things that will help you. So Vow of Enmity is already handled. It's on the character sheet. Character drops to 0 points before the vow ends. You can transfer the vow to a different character. Okay. So that's dealt with. Oath of Vengeance spells. So I got to drag a couple more spells over to the character sheet. So I get Bane and Hunter's Mark. So I'm just going to drag it up here where it says spell slots. And it will automatically place them where they need to go. And these are already prepared. So Bane and Hunter's Mark. And Hunter's Mark, I believe, takes, what do you call it? It takes, why did it go up here? Did I drag it to the wrong spot? Let's see, Hunter's Mark. Yeah, I must have drug it to the wrong. Okay, so Hunter's Mark takes concentration now, I believe. Yeah. Whereas before, I don't think it did. So I'm going to put that here as a note so I remember. And it's a bonus action. So this is the little type of things you can do if you're a spellcaster to make this a little bit more accessible. You don't have to dig into the book to look this stuff up. So I'm just putting these little notes here, you know, on the spell itself. So I know it's 90 feet, it's concentration, bonus action. So that helps with your spells, especially if you got a bunch of spells. So that's touch. So this one, you know, you have to touch someone, reach out and touch them. Thunderous Smite is a bonus action. So it's good to know this stuff ahead of time before you start playing. Command is just 60 feet. So we know we can do that up to 60 feet away. So that's helpful. Bless, I believe, is 30 feet. Yep. So 30 feet. And Bane, I believe, is 30 feet as well. Yep. Bless and Bane are similar. So this is just to help you, you know, when you're playing, you don't have to look the stuff up and you'll know, oh, this is a bonus action. You know, that way you're not digging around looking for this stuff. Okay, so the Oath of the Vengeance spells is dealt with. That comes with the class at 3rd level. Lay on Hands is already there, and it's basically a bonus heal. Right now it's set up to 20. So if I expand this, it's the way it's set up is like this, and it goes by the Paladin's level. What you don't see now, or what you don't notice here, is that honestly would just do it in groups of 5. So instead of having it all of it as 20, I would change this to just nothing here. I mean, this is one way to do it, but, and then I wouldn't take this level here. I don't think we need that. I'll just do that. And then what I'm going to do is add a couple variations. And then what we'll do is we'll do 5, we'll do 10, and we'll do 1. And then maybe 2. Okay, so those are different variations of that healing function. So now when you do this, let's see, is this right? I didn't do exactly what I was hoping for. But basically, that's how I would handle this. And it's adding them all up. That's what it's doing. That doesn't make any sense. Let me delete that for a sec. Yeah, I don't like that. So basically, when you do your lay on hands, you can go off of what this gives you. So if I'm going to drag this back over and then make sure it's in the right spot. So I'll come down here and change this to preparation and combat just to check it out, and then go back to standard, go to edit mode, and then you can bring this back up. But I'm going to make, if I was playing this character, I would just make my own heal and don't worry about this, because you can always look up what that's going to change with every level, but you're not necessarily always going to use, this to always use 20, so that's why I would change it up. But I would add another action and another heal function, and then change the properties in that to a little different than what we have in the other one. So, we can edit that. We can change the properties of this heal. But that's kind of up to you if you want to mess with that or not. But this would be like if you wanted to see, this is a heal function. So you can add all these different heal functions, and then you just go in and you just edit, what you want to do with it. So if I come out of the edit mode and I go into heal, I would just add another line and then just add 5 here. So this way you have different variations. You're not just stuck with 20 every time. So add this item, and then we're going to do 1 right here. So this gives you more options when you want to heal. You don't want to sit there and manually adjust it. That way the player can just drag over whatever intervals. So 5, 10, 1, and I'll do one more like 2 or 10 or something like that. So add action, and we're going to go with the heal function, and this time we're going to add 10. This way it doesn't matter what this final number is, So I don't think that's necessary. Yeah, see, this is, I don't know. I understand the thought process behind this, but I don't do it this way, because I think it's kind of tough or it's more annoying to manage that than it's worth. So I'll just remove this action. Is that right? No, I just want to delete it. If I remove the action, that's going to take the whole thing out. So I just want to delete this one item. Oops, I guess I did anyways. Let's see if I can Control Z it. Come on, Control Z. Anyway, so lay on hands is kind of an annoying thing that I always have a problem with it. I don't know why, but it just, I don't know. I don't like doing it this way, is all I'm saying. Okay, anyway, so we get hung up on that. So that's there. Channel Divinity. Let's see. You can use it twice. You can choose Divine Energy directly. Start with one of them. Other Paladin abilities, depending on what you get. Okay, so that's dealt with. Tough, I wanted to check on later, the math. And you've trained to deal damaging strikes, Savage Attacker. So is that already in here? Yeah. It's a damage reroll. I don't know if it does this automatically or not, but you have that. And let's see. So this is like the little things, right? All the little nuances and such that you can go through. So yeah, definitely here's a channel divinity to keep track of it. And you get 2 of them, and you don't get another one until level 11, so you're stuck with 2 of them. If it requires a saving throw, the DC challenge rating is the same as the spellcasting feature. So if you wanted to, you can come up here and it's already at charisma, but you can check that. These alert and savage attackers is dealt with. Guidance. See, I wanted this word of radiance. Yeah, these are the paladin cantrips. I'll leave those. And then here's all the spells that I have access to. And then here's the weapon masteries. So I might move this up to the top. So I'll put a 1 in front of weapon mastery. This way it goes up to the top. And then maybe your next most common thing, probably these things here, which are fine. But if you want it to reorder everything, you just put a number in front of the title. And then this will be 3, because it already basically is. And then your feats, probably, I don't think you have much to do with that, but I'm going to make that one. Let's see. I'll just leave it. Okay, so weapon masteries, put those near the top because you'll probably use those more. And then kind of prioritize the groups. That's one way you can kind of organize your sheet back here. Because this is where all the magic happens. So when you're all done fiddling around with that, like I was, then you want to click on combat. But if you want to change how many usages you get, you can come back here. And in this case, I'm going to prepare. So Hunter's Mark and Bane are always prepared, so I don't have to worry about that. But I get 2 or 3. I think I get 3 now that I can. Let me look at that again. So I can prepare up to, let's see. So I can prepare up to 5. So bless. Yeah, I can do all of these, to be honest with you. So that includes the bonus ones I get from my background. So all those are prepared. And all this stuff is already set. This is dual. This is daily. Those don't need to be prepared. All right, so that's pretty decent there. And now when we get out of this edit mode and go to, this is combat mode. So this is the mode that you want to be in when you're playing. So we got the weapons dealt with. We have our weapon mastery kind of listed here. We got our paladin abilities, our class abilities, stuff that does with that. And actually, I will combine these two. I don't think I need both of these. So I'll take this, and this is the channel divinity stuff, but I don't know if I want a separate section for that. I don't think I'll just leave it. But this is just so you don't have 50,000 different things, you can kind of combine some of these. I think those two could safely be combined because they're both going to be based off of charisma. So I always check that in case there's something in there that's going to be based off your spell casting. And it probably doesn't make any difference here, but you never know. Yeah, that doesn't need to change. Yep. Okay. So that's just a way to kind of, make your character a little bit more polished and a lot less work in the back end. So there we go. There's the 4th level paladin. Again, this is a female paladin, level 4, soldier background, human species, and then she chose the Oath of Vengeance. And then she got Vow of Enmity, which is one of her daily. She gets 2 channel divinities, and then I think there's a smite thing in there. Divine Sense, excuse me. This is a bonus action, by the way, so I want to put that on there. So Divine Sense is a bonus action, is this one. When you make an attack, you have advantage on attack rolls for 1 minute. Okay, so this is just an effect that you put on yourself when you get ready to play. So the GM would put this character on the combat tracker, and then if you were going to use any of these, this might be the time to put them on you before you start playing. If they're passive, if it's something that's always on, sometimes there's some background or species stuff that comes over, and you want to keep that on the whole time. All right, that's it for today. So you guys have a wonderful week. I'll see you guys next time. And I think the next build is to make probably, so I already did a rogue and a fighter, but I'll probably revisit those because they were kind of jacked up when I was making them. And then just going to go, I think I'll do the ranger next and get a lot of the martial classes out of the way. And make yourself some reference tools like I showed you earlier. I put all these in here so that I can basically just take this, and I don't know why this is a copy of that. I'm going to have to fix that. But this comes from the weapon mastery thing that I made. These are records, and you just open these up. Yeah, I don't see anything, but when you put them on over here for weapon mastery, they should have the descriptions. So I got to fix that. Like, just plug in all the descriptions. I didn't do that. I just put in the notes. So this one is slow, and then this one is disadvantage on attack. So